Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Now we're turning our attention to football, and that's what brings smiles to faces of many Nigerians, including myself. Shego Dogmami joins us now to talk that. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, for some time, the Super Eagles have not been giving us the kind of joy and smile we like from year to year. But what's going on with this Eagles coaching job? Sunday is going to be unveiled. We understand next Tuesday, but the way and manner with which Keshi was ousted, many thought, oh dear. Do you think it was tidy?
I don't think it was. And I think we have to blame Keshi for this.
Why?
After what happened during the World Cup, on the eve of the match against France, despite his great success as the most successful coach we've ever had in our history, and he got to the point of making history, qualifying for the last 16 of the World Cup against France. He did not lead the group, but he was complicit in ensuring that the Super Eagles held the country to ransom. A minister took off from Brazil, came to Nigeria, collected cash, and took back to Brazil, and they shared money till the wee hours for players who are going to play the most important match in our history. From that moment, when the team failed, I think Keshi should just have honorably left. But because he didn't, now he had to face not just the wrath of Nigerians, but a lot of people who didn't want him to be there in the first place. And that's what we have seen happen now. After the World Cup, he came, and the team started losing, and of course, he should just have gone out. That's what happens with coaches. But he didn't do that. He was supported by the presidency, and they ensured that he stayed behind, and the team was never going to be the same.
But many sometimes don't understand, because even we try to understand the thinking of politicians the same way now sports. He's a professional. He's played the game. He's coached in different areas. He should know when the vision is loudest and what they say about quitting. What do you think was going through his mind while he decided to stay on?
Well, two things. One, Keshi has always been, proud to be a Nigerian. I know that we played together, and I know that he's very, very, he's very, very nationalistic and all of that, so he would choose Nigeria first. He wanted to keep becoming coach of Nigeria. That was the biggest achievement for him, to coach Nigeria. But aside from that, on the other side, you don't earn 5 million naira every month, anywhere. It's not easy to come by. So with 5 million naira dangled before you, and the prospect of not having a job for the next couple of months or maybe even years, you would take anything. That's why he was willing to report to a technical committee, report to a technical director that were under him initially. For him to have taken that, I just knew that this was not going to work at all.
So this had nothing to do with the Ivory Coast job?
No, I don't think so. So many things are just not right about the Ivory Coast job thing. First of all, good coaches don't apply for jobs. Nations go after the best coaches. You would never hear Mourinho apply to any club, or Ferguson apply to a national team that they wanted a job. You go looking for them. It is the less successful coaches who are jobless most of the time that apply for jobs. That's why I was saying that Keshi would rather stay with the 5 million naira job that is certain than anything else. But that was not even certain.
No, but he did say that he knew nothing about it, that he never applied for any job, that his agent submitted his name. And now a couple of people question how it is that your agent can submit your name and you don't know anything about it. But if that were the case, do you think that the NFF really had a case to say, well, you went out job seeking when you had a job here?
That was absolutely a breach. But if Keshi had been successful, if his team had been doing well, if he didn't have the problems that he had, nobody would even raise the issue that he applied to Cote d'Ivoire. It was an accident waiting to happen. He just gave them the ammunition to deal with him, and they dealt with him at the appropriate time. They were looking for him since after the World Cup, and he was being supported by the presidency. Everybody knew, not the president, but somebody high up there. Everybody knew. So it was just a matter of time. It was bound to happen. And suddenly this opportunity came and they pounced.
And this is immediately, after victory with Chad, and people are saying, well, we seem to be making progress with the AFCON qualifiers.
That was not any victory. If we had lost against
I was
Chad,
expecting that.
to play against Chad, that was no victory. The team played so badly that I didn't think it was the Nigerian team. That was not the Nigerian team.
A whole lot of issues here. And for the first time, we're getting to hear from you, especially about that talk about some big individual around the presidency being the backbone of Keshi, because it was always in the rumor mill, going back and forth like a yo-yo. He will soon be eased out. No, someone somewhere saying, no, he must remain, or else. But if you look at it critically, Chamberlain said, started by saying that, look, for most Nigerians, they haven't been that happy, for some time now, getting to see our national team play football. By the way, we also saw what happened with the female national team just when we thought we were almost there. What is this thing that is always with our coaching style or our playing style? Whenever we think that we're almost there, we lose it. And when we go down, we go really deep down. For instance, what has just occurred, and you just pointed out what happened with Chad.
In our coaching, we arrived at a plateau, a level where we couldn't rise above because we lacked certain ingredients. We are a young footballing nation. We are not really as old as the UK and the Belgium and all the others. We are really young. And our development has been slow and steady. But we arrived at a point and we couldn't rise above that point. It's a very thin line between where we were and where we are supposed to be. But to make that cross requires this ingredient, very important in coaching. That's what separates Mourinho, Alex Ferguson, Enrique from the rest of the coaches. It is intellectual capacity.
Even though respectfully, I beg to disagree with you about our age or our youngness, because I recall, if you look at pictures of when you were playing, sometimes it amazes me. I look at the jersey, how short they were then. It reminds me of so many things. But if you look at it critically, we have developed over the years. But it would seem as if we were putting concentration on our playing skills, our playing styles, that is for the players, instead of coaching. Now we're getting to see few Nigerians, pockets of them here and there, trying their hands on coaching. Would you say that also affected us, our success in the game?
Let me tell you, I mentioned the word intellectual capacity. Sunday Olise, who has just joined, do you know he's a graduate? He's a lawyer. He studied in LASU. And for that alone, he has the capacity to take our football beyond where we are. That's the difference between, if you look at musicians and actors now, they have transformed Nollywood. They have transformed the music industry because a lot of intellectuals are coming into it. They are taking it beyond a certain level. And that's what Sunday Olise is bringing into Nigerian football. Listen to his analysis. Listen to his commentaries. Read his write-ups. And you will see that he has something that all our other previous coaches didn't have. And that comes with education,
I think Chairman is about to say
fertilization of the mind.
Chairman is about to say what I'm about to say, which is, I hope this is not deja vu. Is that what you're about to say, Chamberlain?
Yeah, two different things. I mean, you could have all that experience, but when you get to the field of play, it's different. Applying it and delivering, that two different things.
I agree with you entirely. Sunday Olise may go in there and fail from day one. There's the prospect. Because football is a very complicated game. People don't know. You know the game of chess. If you play chess, it means you are very, very intelligent. Because before you make the first move, you must know or anticipate 4 or 5 moves ahead. And then you take your time to make the next move. Imagine you have to play chess at 100 kilometers per hour. That's what football is about. Because it changes from moment to moment to moment. And each time, you want to anticipate 4 or 5 moves ahead. That's the coach. They play those games before a match. But they get to the field, and the match turns out totally different. You understand? But still, you have to maintain that vision of anticipation. This is what I think they would do. This is what I think. So a few coaches have that ability. They mature so much in the game that they can almost predict. It doesn't always happen that way, but more often than not, it does. That's why a Mourinho will make a change, and the game will change. That's why he will play a match. Sometimes he's so defensive and all of that, they will abuse him, his team will win.
But you know the argument too about him, they say, look, don't just buy finished players. Take the young ones and bring that skill and let's see how good he can be. But that hasn't happened yet.
That's not his strength.
His strength is take the finished product and let them deliver.
Absolutely.